He's the buffer to 7 might be the first thing I've ever heard Michael say to me competing in 4 events.
That isn't a code.
Yeah. I love that from Michael. So let's see what's able to do here. I'm also surprised that they said buffer up to 7. I've generally seen like people get weird reactions when playing on odd buffer numbers, but that might just be a placebo effect. But let's see how it affects these two. Michael, as the chat poll went, is definitely poised to win here, and as general convention, as we've been talking about in the matchup here. But it looks like Krudo is going very much against general convention here, off to a pretty good start.
Yeah, he's been doing a lot of the, the things that I usually look for, which is, not going for the classic, like, trying to get grabs, only going for, like, very, low risk, non-committal punishes. And so far, he's, building a percent lead, and con in this game is just build percent. You're not going to get a Gimp on Puff. There's no way that you're going to, cheese her by any means, so it's just play the war of attrition.
Like Michael, also willing to play that war of attrition, and I guess it's not that first stock's not going to go in his favor, but when we saw previously with his match against Thorn, I believe, or we saw previously in his match against the Falco, that Michael had fallen behind at some points, but is very able to stick to, hold it out, finish off these edge guards, clean it up as the set goes on. And it looks like he might be able to clean off this first stock, going to go way out there, but Krudo, realizing it's not a great situation, just goes for the trade there to get a little bit more percent and continue to hold this lead.
Yeah, for Sheik, extra credit in this matchup is exceptionally important. One thing that we've kind of been noticing Krudo do is run off these platforms, look at that 45-degree angle down with needles or just a fair, and that's how he's been able to get quite a lot of percent, and eventually it actually will lead into kill confirms too. Needle will pop up the Puff, and you can get a fair off of that for a kill.
Yeah, I'm incredibly impressed with how well Krudo's been playing this game on, and that's going to be a kill. Krudo continues to hold this lead into this second to last, 2 stocks left for Michael.
Yeah, well, don't count Michael out just yet. It only takes Krudo 1 mistake. Already, we've seen him throw out some questionable aerials that Michael hasn't quite been able to punish.
Ooh.
And really smart back air.
Yeah.
Oh, but Krudo's living! Just barely.
Getting so much off these stocks. Let's see if Michael's able to finish this one off. And that's going to do it, yeah.
Looking like an even game, despite, it's felt like Krudo's winning this whole time.
Like, this continues to be the story. The moment I think to count out Michael or be like, oh, someone's finally got the edge on him, someone's figured out what to do against his Puff, Michael just proves me wrong time and time again. And
that last interaction bears note to mention, Jigglypuff, was preemptively forward smashing the crouch cancel of the dash attack from Sheik. Jigglypuff can actually rest almost any one of Sheik's moves if done improperly. And
definitely going back a little bit conversely to the discussion we were having earlier about like Ganon and players with characters with big commit options being a little bit better on net play, there is that kind of flip side to that with rest, because with the little bit of lag and imprecise movement, rest can be even more risky of an option, because one you would hit on a land is not going to be able to come through a net play. So Michael doesn't have that nearly as much in his kit, and we've seen in the sets he's played in, unfortunate from Krudo.
That's a really big SD, unfortunately. And to your point about not throwing at the rest, maybe that's why we haven't seen Michael go for any rest setups so far in the few games that he's been on stream.
Yeah, but again, I start to hear the Jaws theme. So Michael's like, oh, maybe I could. I've been saving this one just for you, Krudo. I had it in my back pocket. I've been holding it out. Oh, no, but Krudo's got a handful of needles and a slap coming through for him. And then Michael comes back with a back air. Oh, no. Oh, no.
I think Michael faked him out. He thought he had to go onto stage because he was going to get ledge stolen there. Man, that one SD, so unfortunate, because, he does an SD there. Puff can't throw out that rest. He's sitting at 80%.
Yeah, and raise up to 8. Yeah, that's what we're going to see from these two as we bump it up to 8, and we'll probably get a reset after we get that. Cool. All right, game 2, and that just sucks all the air out of the room for Krudo, who's looking so good. And, okay, looks like he's not going to be deterred by how that last game that leaned a lot on that SD ended.
Yeah. I do like actually sticking with Battlefields. I know a lot of Sheiks would choose to go to, like Yoshi's or maybe even Pokemon if they're a little more risque. But Krudo's doing just fine on Battlefield. I don't see, any reason to switch it up. He's comfortable here. He was getting really good, movements between the plats. Keep what's working. Just don't SD this time.
Yeah, a real simple plan. Okay, Michael just gets one opening and gets so much out of it. That forward smash almost sneaks through, but the slap and then into a back air as Krudo continues to control the pace and the momentum of these games. Hopefully he can just, like you said before, really, if he didn't SD, that game one was all him.
Yeah, and all of a sudden, man, the legs on the Sheik are just swinging right now, building up a pretty sizable % lead already on the second stock. And if I'm a Sheik player right now, I'm super happy with how this game's going. My stock is living to 120. I'm getting really good. I'm hitting my ops attacks on 8 buffer. And at 67%, I'm not going to be killing anytime soon. But even if I lose this stock, so what? You know what? I'm on a grand pace for this whole game.
Yeah, no, I've been incredibly impressed with how Krudo is playing, despite the fact that he's down a game. And even with stocks there, Michael's going out. Yeah,
it's fine. It's fine. He's winning the war of attrition. That's what you got to keep in the back of your head.
I think it just speaks to maybe I over respect Michael, but with this deficit, I'm like, oh, Michael's got this. Like this is so hard to do. I see an 80% gap, and I'm still like, I feel like Michael has. He's definitely not in control, but he's not far away from flipping that switch in his favor.
No, I think you're 100% right. I mean, last game, we started off in similar ballparks. Krudo up with a slight lead, building percents, and, with an SD to help, sure, but Michael was making a clawback the entire way. He's never flustered, always playing to his, strengths, and even there, he sits in the shield that whole time, doesn't try to do anything fancy, and is getting this punish based from it, right? Yeah. He's not trying to do things that won't work. He knows exactly what he needs to do, and he's willing to play patiently to get there.
But yeah, there it is, a 80% lead wiped away like it was nothing as Michael it's still okay. No, Krudo's taking it back. Just as I was starting to give Michael credit, Krudo continues to keep the pressure on.
Krudo definitely the one first to strike this game. Puff's playing in the backseat. But I think this next, one interaction will be really important. If Krudo can, find a grab, which he really hasn't gone for the entire game, that'll be basically a kill off of a down throw fair. Or if he can just find a raw nair or, something. Oh, no. If he can get the stock soon.
Oh, okay, he's gonna kill off the top,
and
so it's
off
not gonna be a
the
trade.
top. And the lead flips just like that.
Michael does. Oh no. Okay, Michael doing Michael things now. Now that music gets even louder when he's got this free stock to figure this one out. We got on that down tilt. He got so far out of there. Incredible.
Really smart DI. Wait, last stock? I mean, this is do or die for Krudo.
When did Michael get 68%? When did he 80%? Where did this come from? Oh my god.
As important as the extra credit is for Sheik, Puff also gets quite a bit out of it. Being able to set up, back air, actually pushing Sheik off the ledge. Yeah, Puff has a pretty decent edge guard on Sheik, and a punish.
That's gotta be it.
Just doesn't quite get over the lip, and that's another Sheik 2-0'd out.
It's a very, very close 2-0. If I dare dip into the chest of overused commentatorisms, that was a incredibly close